Good evening. Call the meeting to order, please. Introductions. This is the very first meeting that we're having for the Florida Main Street program. I wanted to talk a little bit about what it is, what we're trying to achieve, and make a few introductions. This is Debbie Johnson. She's the assistant town clerk. Y'all know Connie Burkeen, I'm the town clerk. This is Catherine Terry, our District 1 council person. And this is Doug Sanders. He is our grant person and the person that's responsible for submitting this to the state of Florida. The mayor is coming, but he is not here yet. He is wrapping up football practice at the high school. It's that time of year again. Anyway, the Florida Main Street program is a statewide program administered by the Florida Department of State Division of Historical Resources. And it's a statewide program, and it's an apprentice program that we have to apply for. Tonight is kind of sort of putting the cart before the horse in that we have not been accepted yet for the program. But we have to do this, and we have to approve articles of incorporation, and we have to approve bylaws in order to have the submission complete for the state of Florida to consider. We also have to agree to supply an administrator for the program for the next 3 years. The town has to commit to that. It would be a part-time position because we are under 5,000 population in the town of Fort White. The historical program initiated the program in 1985. It was developed by the National Main Street Center of the National Trust for Historic Preservation, and there are over 2,000 revitalization programs nationwide. This concentrates on revitalization of the community's historic commercial center, and it is a volunteer-based program. It's a subsidiary, and it's designed to help communities achieve their economic goals, and they've developed some strategies, and the state of Florida will assist us with those strategies and the implementation of them, etc. It's a 4-point approach that they have recommended that we follow. And it involves design, which improves the downtown image by enhancing the physical appearance. That's one of the goals. Not just the appearance of buildings, but also that of streetlights, window displays, parking areas, signs, sidewalks, etc. You know, you go to some of these historic towns like High Springs and downtown Lake City and like that, and you see the work that they've done with the benches and the pavers that outline the sidewalks and the old-timey looking lighting and things like that, and the awnings that they put out on the businesses and things like that. That's an example of what they're talking about, okay? And it's just designed to make it more appealing for tourism, for people to come to Fort White, want to stop, spend their money, partake of the businesses, etc. Organization means building cooperation and consensus among all the groups that play roles in the downtown. That's you, business owners, okay? We want to ensure that the Main Street program benefits a county-wide vision for the future. So basically what this is to get input from the businesses that are in the county. What they want to see, what they think will help their businesses, etc. It's also a part of promotion. That involves marketing the downtown's unique characteristics to shoppers, investors, new business, tourists, and others. That is a big role for this new position that we're creating, that we're going to fund for the next 3 years. Promoting the town of Fort White, coordinating events, putting on events to draw the community in, to make Fort White known for something other than a pass-through going to the Springs. So it'll be getting ideas from all of you for what you think will bring more tourism to the town, and what you think would be good for the town. The last component is economic vitality, and that means strengthening the existing economic base of downtown while diversifying it. Economic vitality activities include helping existing businesses expand, recruiting new businesses, converting unused space into productive property, and sharpening the competitiveness of downtown merchants. By strengthening the downtown's economy, communities are able to support the ongoing use of historic commercial buildings, preserving unique community assets. Doug has been involved in the community on Main Street program with the city of Dade City for quite a long time. So I'm going to let him take it from here and describe what they've done there.
Well, first of all, thank you for coming. We're starting from scratch. We don't have a flag to salute, and we almost did have air conditioning. Got that resolved. So I think it's a test, the result of this community. We have to start somewhere. We have no newspaper, no radio station, no television station, no chamber of commerce. So how can we bring business people like yourselves together? Main Street is the program. The application that I'm working on is right here. It's 500 pages. Even though I'm not here, I've been working full-time for Connie for about 6 months. The application has 25 high-resolution photographs highlighting the town, the churches, the schools, the distinct architecture that I see. I've been with your community now for 1 year, so I've been wandering around. What makes this town stand out besides the strengths? And there's many things this town can be proud of, but we got to bring ourselves together. So tonight, I'm assuming all of you want to be members of Main Street, right? So your addresses will be submitted that you are now founding members of Main Street. The application is due by September 3rd. I plan to have it out next week. We should know in November. And as Connie said, it's a 3-year apprentice program. Whoever he or she is, the town will advertise for an executive director, who will probably be set up right here. The town's going to let this person have the depot for 3 years. Have an office, bring the community together, parades, themes, homecoming, whatever things can bring the town together. And most important, bring people to Fort White. And the Main Street program, there's probably 40 or 50 programs in existence. As Connie said, I participated in Dade City in 1982. And in 2024, you cannot believe how the town changed. It takes time. It won't happen tonight. We won't see anything for 5 years. But in 20 years' time, there's uniformity of architecture. Dade City looks very much like Mount Dora, an antique mecca for people coming. Up here, I don't know what the thing will be, but it'll be developed. And we plan to have future meetings after we start it tonight. So I know many of you received notice of this within a couple hours, because Debbie and I went up and down the street to make sure we rattled the trees and got you out here. So what we need to do, and I'm going to take a look at the agenda. First of all, you've all agreed to be on Main Street. The second thing is, we need a nomination for somebody to be president of the board. The board will consist of 2 members from the public, the town mayor, the town clerk, and 1 town council member. This is all volunteer, but we have one theme, and that is the town of Fort White. After we do the offices, which will be, president, treasurer, secretary, vice president. And then we have articles of incorporation here and bylaws. We don't have a lot of time, so you're going to have to trust me. I did not put anything in there that would embarrass the town. But we've got to show them that if we are awarded this program, we are in a position to file a 501c3. We are in a position to hire an executive director that will work part-time for 3 years. At the end of 3 years, then we become a full-fledged member of Main Street. It will open up more avenues for grant writing. and for great improvements in the town. In 1 year's time, the town has set up a community redevelopment agency. They've created a local tax base to bring in money to a community that's, 140 years old? And I've often wondered, as an outsider looking in, how did you make it to 2024 when you had no local taxes? How was that possible? That's so difficult to be dependent on sales tax or any other type of user tax that goes up and down. Something that's not reliable. And plus, the wastewater treatment plant that's coming in. 10 years from now, this town can be totally different. And we want it to be positive 10 years from now. We want an organization that whoever this director is, he or she will attend the commission meetings, possibly the county commission meetings. There are state conventions where this person will network with other directors around the state. It's like a statewide cheerleading squad, all the communities helping each other. Now, before we go any further, any questions from anybody? You're all looking at me like, what is this? So what we have tonight, and the main application is back there for the mayor's signature, but we need to open up the floor and have some nominations. We need to do that to find out if we can have a president, a vice president, and a treasurer, and a secretary. Can we hear any nominations for president?
Or any
Yes.
volunteers.
Why don't we see who wants to raise their hand for petition for president, so we know, we get somebody that's interested.
Volunteers.
Yeah. You have to believe in your community. We're asking all of you to volunteer. There's no fees, but if we don't participate, and it's already 2024, what will the future be for this town? If we don't come together now and decide we are going to take control of our future. Not Columbia County, not the state of Florida, the town of Fort White.
Do you have to be a business owner to get on the board, or anybody in the county can do it?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know what that answer is. It'd be nice if we could get somebody from the community. Are you out in the county?
I have a business in the county, and I'm
Well-
out of the county.
You know, we're starting this from scratch, so we're going to say yes.
You have a
Okay?
business in town.
I said that.
You said the county.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So you have a vested interest in the town, and that's what counts. We want people on the board. Probably next year we'll start on a monthly basis. This person and all of your board will be meeting once a month right here. And as I said, we're starting from scratch. We got to get a desk in here. We got to get a computer. But at least we got the AC working. So we're getting there. We're making progress. So is there anybody that feels they would like to be president?
When you're the president of this type of organization, what are your duties again? I kind of walked in a couple minutes late.
Okay, well, the duties are to run the meeting, and you will have a secretary, a treasurer, and a vice president to help you. Plus, everybody in this room is going to be on membership. And basically, when you meet, you're going to be discussing what kind of things can we have in this community? How can we bring people into Fort White? How can we get them off the interstate, come all the way through High Springs and come here? How can we do that? And we know that better than anybody. You all have an invested interest in Fort White, either through business or raising a family or whatever. So the bylaws simply state that the president would run the meeting. And in the very beginning, there'll be no expenditures of money because we're starting from scratch. But you'll be brainstorming with everybody. Yes, sir.
I just want to make sure I understand. So you said this is a apprentice program, so the folks that are nominated will have mentors or something through a program, it sounds like, so they're not...
Yes. Yeah, the board that's hopefully we can select tonight and get 4 volunteers. You'll be going to Tallahassee. And my agreement with the city is whoever that is, I'll go with them. And we'll go to Tallahassee, and I'm not going to mince words. It's going to be very tough to get this town approved by Tallahassee. The first thing I'm going to say is you don't have anything, but we do. We have spirit, we have spunk, and you've got beautiful architecture, and you've got a community that meets the mainstream objective. That is, you want to improve the town. You want to bring in, we have tourism already. And we already have a historic structure, the fort over here. Hopefully this time next year, the depot will be on the national register. That's pretty impressive for a town with less than 600 people. To have two historic structures on the national register, up there at Mount Vernon and the White House. That's not bad. Yes, ma'am.
So at one of the town council meetings, you introduced some model bylaws. Are those bylaws that have been adopted?
No, that's going to be done tonight.
Okay. Could they be modified?
Oh, yeah.
So you might consider, I know sometimes it's hard to come out to get somebody to stand up and be president, but if you could modify it to have a steering committee of 3 or 4 members, because oftentimes when those people start getting together and they understand what the different roles are, then things kind of sort themselves out naturally. But I think it's kind of scary for somebody to say, I want to be president, I don't know what they're doing.
That's going to be a great suggestion. When my application is submitted, I'm going to say, I've already taken a picture and what I see in the parking. This is a town of 600, and these many people showed up. They've agreed to be members of Main Street. They've agreed to be members of the steering committee. If you award us this program, then at our next meeting in January, at that time, we will have the offices designated. But at least when we submit the application from Masco, which is back there on that counter, it will show the bylaws and the articles of incorporation. Whenever you work with the state and whenever you do grants, it's the nitty-gritty details. If they're followed through, that's how you can win a grant. If we didn't hold an organizational meeting, if the city didn't volunteer the depot as a meeting place for 3 years, it would show a lack of enthusiasm. And I don't know how many cities are applying this year, but the Main Street Board in Tallahassee says they will award 5 communities. And its size is not what they're looking for, it's town spirit.
What are they looking to award them?
Pardon me?
What are they looking to award them, these 5 towns?
Well, the application has, half the application is economic details. Rental, unemployment, how many workers do we have, who are the largest employees, and we have historic structures here, we have school structures in the town, we have major state highways coming through here, we have a bike trail coming through here. Those are the things I want Tallahassee to know. Those are the selling points of your community that are here now, and we want to explore them and make them viable, which is what I've been working on with this application here.
How many towns apply for this?
I don't know, but I know they're going to look at 5. And I'm going to send it in probably by the early part of next week. If I get it in early, before September 3rd, they'll get the feedback. And then they're going to ask us to come to Tallahassee. I'll have a PowerPoint. I will show them this is what Fort White is. Because let's face it, in Tallahassee, how many of those legislators are going to know where Fort White is? Yeah, they know St. Augustine and other communities that are well known for their historical work. So Fort White, this is an Atlantic coastline depot that goes back to 1900. And the fort over here, that's a beautiful building. Hopefully we can get it for the city, and maybe in the future town meetings can be held there and have room for expansion in the future. But all of this stuff has to start somewhere. We have to have our organizational meeting to get started, and that's what we're doing here tonight. Yes, ma'am?
What are the benefits of the grant?
Well, this isn't a grant right now.
No, what you're applying for, what's the downtown, what is the benefit?
Well, first of all, you're going to have an executive director and all of you that will be meeting at least once a month to talk about the town. What can we do in 2025? What kind of things can we do? Can we have a parade? Can we have a festival? Bushnell has a pumpkin festival. In Dade City, we have a kumquat festival. We used to have citrus, that's gone, so they found kumquat. So they're hanging in there. So the biggest thing that I can tell you and all of you, you're here together. When's the last time this town came together to talk about the town? And it's an extra arm for the city council to have this Main Street program. And as I said, the downtown area will be the program area. So all of the businesses in the downtown area will benefit under the CRA plan. They'll benefit under the Main Street program. And whoever the director is will probably give a monthly report to the city council. This is what we've done. But in the beginning, it's going to take some initiative. What can we do? What kind of things can we talk about for people that are going up and down Main Street and they're looking at Georgia and they're not thinking about Fort White? That's what we got to work on. Yes, sir.
Can we put together like a planning committee with the chairman and then some members?
Yeah, you can have that steering committee that lady recommended.
Okay,
That would be
I
the
didn't
first.
know.
You can have that at the very beginning. And then when you're all comfortable with what the program is, then we can have president, vice president, that kind of thing. I'm kind of pushing it because I want the program application to go out September 3rd. So we're literally building everything in 2 weeks. And so that's why the articles and the bylaws are ready to go. And in our application, I will specifically mention that the board at the organizational meeting, the membership decided to have a steering committee. And really, once the application is submitted, then we're going to find out what the state will recommend. Because, like I said, they will invite us to go to Tallahassee. I don't know if there'll be a Zoom conference or not, but usually there's a Zoom conference. But if not, I'm prepared to go to Tallahassee with a PowerPoint that will reflect what's in those applications there. Yes, sir.
Did you say by September 3rd, the application has to be in, we have to have president?
No, at the end of September 3rd, we have to have the application in. We got time to follow through with what she said. We can set up a steering committee, because for a lot of you, you're hearing this for the first time. I've been dealing with it for half a year, so I don't expect you to be up to speed on this right now. I'm just thrilled that you all came. I was prepared to look at empty pews, because many towns are apathetic. Yes, sir.
Really help the application process to already announce the officers.
It would be nice if we could do that. If we did do that, then we would have a president, a vice president, a treasurer, a secretary. And the secretary could sign those bylaws and articles of incorporation.
Would not look better to Tallahassee if we do have
Yes.
that in place already.
Yes.
The duties.
It would show more initiative on our part, I think.
My plan B was, well, yes, sir, go ahead.
Can we make nominations already, or?
Yeah.
I would like to nominate Alex for treasurer.
And who is Alex? Okay. Okay, we're our treasurer. Now, who's going to be secretary?
Somebody got good handwriting.
And who wants to be vice president and president? You're going to make history full white to start at. You're starting a brand new program. Yes, sir.
I'll take vice president and president.
You are a great son.
If he'll do president, I'll do vice president.
There we go.
All right.
Right there.
Wants to be president.
Trust me.
You're going to be vice president, right?
President, vice
If he'll do president, I'll do vice.
Closes it.
It's going so fast I can't. Okay, so yes, ma'am.
I'll be secretary.
Okay.
Got a second.
You will be signing the document that's behind in the counter. And you're right. If we send the application and the articles and the bylaws, it sure looks like we're on the ball.
What's your name?
Wendy,
Wendy what?
Hancock.
Thank you. Otto, what's your last name?
Wingfield.
Wingfield? Thank you.
Wingfield.
Thank you.
And when you go home tonight, Google Main Street. Look at the other communities, Gainesville, Dade City. Look at what they did. Those park benches and street lighting, they don't show up overnight. They've done that to a Main Street or a CRA program. That's how things get started. And it makes the downtown area look, Gainesville's very attractive. And so is Mount Dora. Alachua is another town. Lake City looked pretty nice when I was up there a couple weeks ago. Did you get all the officers?
We have to vote on them.
That's right. This has been very informal, but like I said, I'm pushing it so you can't back out.
Cindy, what's your last name? Patterson. Patterson?
Are you gonna have a workshop first, or you go to the council?
Well, once we know we've got the program, that certainly can be done.
Can
Okay?
we get a copy of like the bylaws and all that?
Oh, yeah,
Read and
yeah.
Understand what the job is before.
The president, I can read off the duties. The president shall preside over the meetings and perform all activities usually performed by an executive, including documents or other papers of the corporation as authorized or directed to sign by the board of directors. The board of directors will be the town council of the town of Fort Wayne. Okay? So this group will answer to the town council for Fort Wayne. Okay? Pardon me?
A subcommittee.
The town council will be the board of directors.
No, this group.
Yes, yes. The vice president, of course, will act in the absence of the president. Okay? A secretary will keep the complete record of the meetings of the corporation and board of directors and have general charge and supervision of the records of the corporation. The treasurer will review the books, accounts, and all business pertaining to the corporation as the board of directors may require. So as this group expands, has events, etc., that type thing. If there are fundraising and all that kind of stuff, the treasurer would be responsible for keeping up with that and presenting financial records to the board of directors for their oversight.
But in the
Anybody
beginning,
else have any questions about that?
in the beginning, the simplest things will be taken care of. Having a meeting, have a quorum, that kind of thing. But it makes it easier if this is a subcommittee with the council. The Main Street meetings won't be public because they're not elected officials. And unless there's any disagreement, we'll continue to be here to depot.
Typically, does the treasurer have any kind of financial background or experience with that?
Well, if you're a business owner and you're, or a business person that's involved in a business in a management capacity, usually has financial experience. And I know that the person that is slated to be treasurer has that experience. So anybody else want to make any other nominations?
You said they were looking for 2 members that aren't officers to be a part of that.
Yes. So
Then
we need
everybody
two-
else are
we
regular
need 2
members.
at large.
So what would the other 2 members do? They would just be there
To
for
be on the board,
meetings,
that's it.
but they show up to meetings every month and...
And we're hopeful all of you will continue to show up at the meetings. Hopefully Main Street, like they did in Dade City, they started a monthly newsletter. They kept the membership up. And down in Dade City and Zephyr Hills, their budgets are in the millions of dollars. They accumulated through the years. Sure comes in handy when you want sidewalks and street lighting.
They are, like they have...
Anyone else that would like to be member at large?
Scott,
Yes.
before they go out, has everybody met everybody? Has everybody known what business everybody owns that's in the firm?
No, we have not done that yet.
It'd be kind of a thing, especially for
Yeah.
members, it's not a...
And for those of you who don't know, that's our mayor, Ron Brady. We take him football
He's got
practice.
football, so...
And his wife Wendy is in the back. think that's a wonderful idea. If you all would just introduce yourselves and what business you're representing, if you're representing a business or if you're a resident, that would be great. I'll start in the back.
Me? So I'm Wendy, I'm the mayor's wife. I don't own a business in Fort White, but I am the vice president of the Fort White High School Dugout Club. The ones who put crosses out every year, he says all the baseball and stuff around. Pretty much what I do around here.
Now, Mr. LaCourte, you want to introduce yourself?
James LaCourte, resident over on Southwest Line Avenue.
Cindy, you want to go that way?
Hi, I'm Cindy from Fort White Community Thrift Shop. I'm manager, executive director, anything you can think of with anything nonprofit in Fort White, that's me. I am also on the board, straight from the heart of North Central Florida. I'm also the secretary for that one. So why not more? But anyways, yeah, I'm the representative for Fort White Community Thrift Shop.
My name is Alexander Vega. I'm the co-owner of the Collective Blueberry Garden here in Fort White and Southwest Bryan. Apart from doing that, I also manage a family business down south where I overlook and train our current bookkeeper. I also handle the logistics coordinator of importing and exporting of all our products as well.
I'm Otto Wakefield, I'm the owner of Fort White Produce.
Next.
Mr. Ball,
Bobby Moxley, resident.
My name is Ruben, I'm the other co-owner of the Collective Blueberry Garden. It's nice to meet you all.
Kate, that's co-owner of the Suicide Crossing.
Tom Wilson, I'm the country membership.
Suicide Council, okay. The old red door. Red, whatever.
Kathy Opal, and I'm secretary for Gardening for Change, new nonprofit gardening.
I'm Sarah Bucci, and Tom Bucci. We have AC here.
Behind you. Sorry. That's all right. That's all right. That's all right. Any questions for me? I'm Betsy Martin, and I am president of the new gardening group in town, called Gardening for Change. And they've been instrumental in making the community-wide yard sale an even bigger success than it has been in the past.
Yes.
And I've put a lot of work in that and are going to continue to support that. So that's one of the good events that happens for the town of Fort White that this group can get together and build off of. Yes, ma'am.
I'm Tamara Knight, and I'm a resident. I'm also a member of the Gardening for Change, and I hope to be a future new business person.
Oh, good. Yay.
Don Crane, I'm not a resident of the town, and I don't have a business in the town, but I'm a member of the Masonic Lodge here in Fort White. We do a lot of community work and stuff like that, so try to stay involved with what's going on.
And I want to say that Mr. Cadrain has previously been involved with a group that was here before, kind of a Fort White community development group, or I don't forget the exact name of it, but
Yeah, it was hard to nail down.
yeah. Anyway, he worked with others here in the town, and they did things like the Christmas parade and different things like that in the past. So, among other things. Go ahead.
Trevor Bars, owner of Bars Plumbing, A&B Well Drilling, and CRB Investments with the rooms here in Fort White.
Travis King, my wife Mandy, and my mom Debbie King. We have the Napa and Stable Foundation Solutions here in Fort White.
Maureen Thomas, resident, and former possible director of the Main Street program. I've applied. I'm hoping to get my foot in the door there. Because I'm a mother of small children, so the things that are happening in this town is important to me. I have to go everywhere to do anything with my kids. I can't stay here to do anything. So I'd like to be able to stay around home and get out with my kids.
Vicki Hancock, I'm the owner of Testament Growth Nutrition.
You don't know what?
Testament Growth Nutrition.
I guess I'm next. Christine Bear, town resident. Nice to meet and see everybody. A lot of you I know, some of you I don't. Nice to meet you.
I was introduced, but I want to stand up and say probably more than I should. I'm Catherine Terry, town council member, and live in the Coke House right there on 47, if y'all know the Coca-Cola House. And I just want to say, if we do not get awarded this opportunity, I don't want this group to fizzle out. As a town council member and also a retired teacher, I just retired, and all of this stuff is falling in my lap, which are great opportunities for our entire community. My grandmother had a store across the street. Is anybody old enough, Sarah Gucci, to remember the store? That store was an original Florida historic building, and now is in Tampa at Cracker Country, which is a living museum for school children and for rodeos, for concerts, for the Tampa State Fair itself, which is in February. So part of Fort White is already living in Tampa day by day. My great-grandparents, which obviously was before my time, they had a hotel right across the street here next to S&S, which serviced the railroad. So Fort White was at one time a smoking hot community with railroad, with oranges, with cotton, with timber, and that might be one of the reasons we survived without taxes. You addressed taxes earlier. People were prosperous, not that we're all poor now, but there was a lot more economic activity in the town of Fort White. I'm a little history buff, so I just want to throw out that the Country Rivers building was originally the bank of Fort White. I don't know if anybody knows that. Your building, Napa, was a hardware store, DeVoe's Hardware, am I correct with that? And I got run out many times for sticking my hand in one of those like glass aquariums where you squeeze and wiggle those little greasy wiggly worms that were artificial, like purple, and y'all remember those, the fish bait, or am I the only The depot used to be 1,000 yards that way, and I hunt bottles under the depot many, many years ago. So I'm a true lover of Fort White, and spent many summers here, not the whole summer, but many hours, many days here at my grandmother's house, in the store. And Fort White was known at that time in the 60s as where to stop and get air in your tube. And that was the black tube, the tire tube. And Floyd jumped on that, if y'all, anybody remembers, for lack of a better title, Old Man Floyd, who had the Greyhound bus station as well. And I rode home on that bus a couple of times, and I figured real quick that was not for me. Mom, come and get me. But again, I can go on and on. There's so much history to this town, and there can be so much more. I want to also take the opportunity to just say, with the addition of the collective, Grace and New Testament and Grace, and there's another one right at my fingertips that I'm not calling out, that is, Suicide Possum. Yes. Which I love Suicide Possum for all the things you've done to revitalize that place. All that can help our community. And we definitely need to be known as a place to stop, not just for air in the tubes, but to eat, to, I don't mean this derogatory in any way, but I don't know if you could stop to have your air conditioning service, but all businesses are really important for this community. So regardless of what happens with our application, and I have total confidence in him, and I know that he's been working on it forever. Let's not let this die out. Let's have something as simple as flags on our light posts. Let's have Christmas decorations on our light posts. Connie keeps referring to have some park benches where people can sit next to the sidewalk. And I know y'all are familiar with Alachua. I hope you're familiar with like a Mount Dora or a Winter Park. who have over years grown into all these things. Any questions?
Do you have photographs from the past?
I do. I don't have as many as I should, but my cousin, Glenn Sparkman, who lives over here, he actually has a dining room table probably as long as this room that was in that hotel. It's in their attic, but he's the one with all the photographs, and he's probably about the last of those original men. There's a few Hollingsworth and Herlongs left and D's, but this was really, again, a really thriving community. I'm not saying that we're not now, I'm just saying that we need to get back to that. Okay? Thank you.
And see, that's the spirit that I hope to embellish in the application. This depot, for example, ended up in private ownership for a while. And some of these rooms were being used to store fertilizer and hay. The town gets the depot back, restores it to what you see now. And we're trying to get a grant approved for this depot and the caboose, because it's a wonderful key to the community. Look, I'm seeing all the cars going by right now. If they could see what's going on in here, they would stick around.
One of the things that I would hope that the committee group, whatever you want to call the Main Street, would look at, and has been discussed, is turning this depot, once it's on the National Historical Register, is making it a welcome station. And we have some artifacts at Town Hall that could be displayed in here, depicting the history, etc. And make this a welcome station where people that are coming by here would pull off, stop, come in, get information on the springs, get information on the various businesses or the various activities that there are to do in this general area. And that's something that Fort White really doesn't have, but we have a nice lovely sign out here welcoming people to come to Fort White, but there's a lot more that can be done for that. Yes, ma'am.
Is there enough room in here to make a museum room?
Yes, there's a big room back there, and we could do stuff out here too. Yes, ma'am.
As you brought that up, I was thinking, I drove all the way to Parrish, Florida, so my kids could see a caboose. And we have one sitting right here, because my grandfather, he was an engineer, and he was a conductor. He lived in the caboose. And I can't show my kids a caboose when there's one sitting right here.
Well, and the sad part about it is that at one point in time, the town of Fort White received a grant to restore that caboose, but there was a match required. And working hard, this is before my time, so I really don't know what was done. I just know that the match dollars were not raised. And so the grant didn't come to be because there wasn't any interest. And I don't know how it was solicited for donations or anything like that, but I do know that Duke Energy had pledged some money, but it wasn't enough. So those are the kinds of things that can be done to help bring people into Fort White and to help different businesses want to come here and be part of this community. So
You might be interested to know that this depot is like an X-15 depot. And if you leave tonight, if you press against the wall, it's made out of some kind of cardboard. It was done by the railroad specifically during the war years to get the trains on the road as cheap as possible. So it's very unique. But this kind of weather that we have, it's tearing up the depot as we talk. But it's got a potbelly stove inside. It's fantastic.
So the grant we're trying to get is to revitalize this whole depot?
Yeah, there's improvements planned for this building, but most of it's going to go to the depot. It's over $200,000 for the depot.
Okay.
It's going to require a lot of money.
Does that include caboose?
Yeah, that's why I made the caboose.
Okay, I was just making sure, I didn't know the verbiage.
we have to get it on the National Historical Register first.
Yeah.
And that's been applied
And the old
for.
school building, that would be cool to revitalize.
Well, that's already on the National
Yeah.
Historic Register.
Yeah.
But Yeah, and we're working on grant possibilities for that as well. But we don't own it yet. So until we own it, and we have to decide, it's been offered to the town of Fort White, but we have an in-depth inspection done, and there are some significant issues with that building that are going to require some repairs. And one of them is there's water intrusion coming in through the roof. The AC over there is 24 years old and has never been replaced. So those two things alone are a hefty dollar amount. So right now, Doug has an engineering firm that's going through that entire inspection report and going to put a dollar figure to it so that we have an idea of what we're biting off for that. Yes, Cindy?
So would that be as also considered downtown and it be within the grant? Or is that just way?
Well,
It's not a grant, okay? We would have to get a grant to do those repairs.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
But the Ford is in the CRA, so to speak.
So
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
And when I met Connie a year ago, I was wondering, I thought I was retired. I'm working 8 hours a day, even though I'm about 500 miles away. I never say anything like it. Every time I turn around another assignment, I can't say no to them. Because the port is fantastic, the depot is fantastic, and all the architecture that I saw, this community, since there's no communication in Columbia County, nobody knows it's here.
Thank you.
So how much social media outlet is there in this program, and who manages it and maintains it to make sure it's in a positive aspect for the town?
That would be decided in the future. It's not required.
It would be by the committee or by the board or like?
Well, Main Street certainly can set up their own Facebook, and many towns have done that, but I'm hopeful we get to that point in January, and that you all will be here in January, have a good Thanksgiving, a great Christmas, but January, I want to see everybody here to start doing those kind of things. Yes, sir?
You gotta have the application in on the 9th of September, when do they?
It'll be in November. I don't know the specific date, but it'll be November.
In November.
So when do we meet again here to find out?
Well, we'll decide that after the announcements in November. We got your addresses, so we'll know how to communicate with you. But once we get going, I'm very confident you'll set up a newsletter, and the membership will be always informed what's going on. Because eventually, Main Street will start moving forward with its own agenda, with the help of town council.
It's already the middle of August. November will be here before we know it. So, anyway, I need one more member at large. Donna.
If I qualify.
CADRAIN. Thank you. Okay.
Well,
We have President Otto Wingfield, Vice President Wendy Hancock, Secretary Cindy Patterson, Treasurer Alex Diega, at-large members Christine Bear and Don Cavering.
so after the
Anybody
meeting,
else?
the new secretary and the mayor, I need to meet with you to sign documents. In the meantime, when you go home, Google Main Street. Look at the other towns in Florida. See for yourself what they can do.
We'll have to decide that after the next. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Any questions?
These board members, they voted on every year, are they guaranteed for a year?
It's staggered elections. Once we start in January, we will stagger the elections. That way you have expertise from your board that is continuous. If you didn't, every time you have an election, you get a brand new board. This way you have retained experience from before. But of course, right now, we're all in the same boat, so we're just starting from scratch.
We can do 4 and 2 or 3 and 3. That'll be up to the group to decide and make that determination. But yeah, it would be fun.
So we have this building to work out of, and hopefully
The mayor and the council members
over the
have
next 3
agreed
years.
to have this building available, have an office, internet, computer, pay the salary of this director for 3 years. That's how much commitment they've made to turn things around. So the mayor's smiling tonight because he's going to know that August 2024 is when this town changed. Whatever happened in the last 104 years is history. The future, with all the things going on that I've seen for the last year, wastewater treatment plant, and I might add, had the town not went forward, I've seen some communities where DEP comes in and takes over the town because they didn't get rid of the septic tanks. Sooner or later, DEP comes.
Just real quick, make sure we explain when you said the director paid, we got confused on that the other night, so make sure that everybody understands that's not a pay that's coming out of the town, a tax, that's a pay that's coming out of the city. Okay, so yes, that's not money we're going to be paying for the director. Okay. I know we got really solid on that other night at the meeting, but.
Yeah, they're not a tax imposed for that money.
Yes, sir.
Are you going to be nominating the director and then the two councils tonight as well? Council members? No?
That's picked by the council.
That's it.
The council will have to decide which two they want to have on there
And there's several applications in right now we're waiting up.
for the director position yet. We want to wait and see if we're approved.
If we don't get approved in November, will the application process automatically go into next year?
Probably have to refile. I'm not sure. I'll find out.
Okay.
I hope we get approved. I don't want to do 500 pages again.
And I want to sound negative, but don't let it die if we're rejected, don't let it die.
So you still want to create a Main Street page for us, you still want us to.
We can't use the name Main Street, but we can still.
But you can still include it.
Yeah, the citizens of Fort White, the community of Fort White. And
It could be a community action group. It could be a community downtown development group. It could be, whatever this group would get together and decide.
We could do the same thing, just put a different sticker on it.
Gotcha. Right. Right.
Okay.
But it's obvious you all had the same idea. That's why you came tonight. You believed in your community, and you came on a Thursday night with the Democratic National Convention going on. You decided to be here, and you're going to be committed.
No Wednesday.
Wait, today's Wednesday. He's trying to trick us.
Right? Wednesday
So everybody understands, we're on the same page? You understand what we're trying to do?
Today, Wednesday, not Thursday, so.
Yeah, we did that up here. We didn't hear us say it.
I just did that, so you're paying attention back there. Yes, sir.
I'm Debbie, I'm the assistant town clerk, town staff, but I was just wondering, Doug, can this group expand? Everybody here is here tonight, there might be people that aren't here tonight that wanted to be here.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Bring your neighbors and friends, yes, the more the merrier.
I would sign in during the chance.
Bring a chair.
What did you say?
Can I still sign?
Oh, yes, yes.
Yeah, is there anybody who still needs to sign in? I think we have one other. Let's sign in. See, the more we have on here, Connie was saying we're going to use that to substantiate the interest in the town of the program. But if you're not comfortable with something, then we understand.
And if I can give an example of a community that got involved when it was too late, I'm working with the town of Lake Butler. In downtown Lake Butler, there's a building called the Townsend Building. That building almost burned to the ground in 1983. They lost all of the original architecture. By the time my associate and I came on board this year, they have rebuilt it, but it took them all these years to do it. They didn't take care of their downtown. And they rented it out to a restaurant. Somebody in the restaurant left something hot over the weekend and burnt that building to the ground. I got pictures of the shell of what's left of the building.
It was a restaurant. It was Lima Drainage Restaurant. So
So it's magnificent today, and so now they're an example of a community that went forward to save their history. And that's what you're all doing here tonight. You're saving your history and you're investing in your future.
Sounds fun.
Okay, so we have a slate of officers. Everybody in favor of the slate of officers?
Yes.
Right. Yeah, any opposed?
When you gave your name.
Okay, anything else?
We just need the mayor and who's the secretary? We need you and the mayor to sign documents on the original application. Everybody else is free to go.